Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Red Alert for Anfield Index. Here we sit on the 5th of March, looking back at February, 3 points clear at the top of the league. So you'd think it would be a perfect month, wouldn't it? You could argue that, but there were highs, there were lows, there were smiles, there were cry, there were all sorts of things to talk about in this month. And as ever, I've got the usual crowd. I've got Mark and Jamesy to talk me through the month, give their thoughts for February, give their thoughts for March, and then probably just cry a little bit about the contract situation like we always do. We'll ask the normal questions, so we'll get them straight on the spot. In a word, gents, to sum up February, Mark, I'll come to you first of all. A word or a phrase for February?
Exhausting.
Not a bad one, actually, when you think about it. Jamesy?
Champions.
Oh, maybe. I think they call that top trumps, to be honest, don't they? So, yeah, it did feel like one hand on the trophy. But let's look back to February. I mean, the weirdest thing, people, when you think about February, I swear, considering it's officially the shortest month of the year, it felt like there was 8,000 games during the month of February, no two ways about it. But when you just sit and look at that table, it is highly erotic, isn't it? 67 points against Arsenal's 54, having played a game more. Mark, I mean, we look at some of the fixtures for February, and by the way, there were 8 in total. I swear there were about 8,000, but it was just the 8. What are the overall thoughts on the month?
Yeah, I just thought it was a crazy emotional month. I just felt like we went through the ringer. I went from thinking it was happening to not happening to sure it was happening to it's definitely not happening to just a whole thing. And that started all the way back at Bournemouth. And the first real emotion I remember in the month was watching Clivert miss that chance at 1-0, and the scare we got there. A guy absolutely banging form misses that, and you think, cool, how has that sort of happened? Then the release when Salah bends that absolute monster into the corner just to finish them off. There was pure joy really watching the Spurs game. That was just, we were electric, just dismantled them, didn't we? Properly dismantled them. Kind of disappointment watching us limp out. I know we'll all agree eventually that it doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things. But for that 90 minutes, there's disappointment watching us abjectly kind of limp out against a weaker opponent with a team that easily could have beat them, on a different day. The ecstasy when Salah puts us ahead late on in the derby, and you think, my God, there's just nothing this team can't do. No level we can't reach. Very quickly followed by the agony of them equalising in the 99th minute. Just crushing thing. The massive frustration at various times also in the Villa game with the misses that we had. Oh my God, in those ones, a little bit of frustration also in the Wolves one, where it just felt like we weren't going to get there. It wasn't going to be enough. The second half they battered us. They rammed the door down. It was scary, to be honest. It was it was the furthest thing from assured. And like I say, the frustration against Villa with the two misses in particular, the Jota and the Nunes ones. Watching another couple of points go missing, and actually, at that point, if we're being honest, the fear that Arsenal were going to catch us. There was real are the wheels coming off this kind of thing. I mean, it's easy to look back now and see that those were the 2 draws were decent results, and they are. It's hard places to go, and the way it's all gone, no disappointment with that. But at the time, it was real, like, because City are up next, real. Now we've got to go and win this. We've got to go and beat City in their own background, a ground that we almost never win at. Just a really scary prospect at the time. And like I say, the fear that we were going to just blow it. It was all going to come off. And then the absolute relief when we realized we are not going to blow it. We're just going to blow them away, and we did, and showed ourselves just to be a better side than City. Just no two ways about it. We were just better than them. the kind of fears of what might have been had we failed to win there kind of washed away by a really, really professional, controlled, kind of champion-like performance by us against City. I really just enjoyed everything I saw there. Even the way we let them have it, towards the end, we kind of let them come on to us with like an inner belief that we could withstand whatever they had. Doku can beat Trent another 10 times, and it doesn't matter. We've got everything kind of marked up in the box. Kanate's covering time and time again. It was just a really, really nice display, that. And then the month finishes with kind of the delight that we see what we really are and where we're going. That this title is looking extremely likely now, really in our hands. Again, not unlike the City game, we just looked like a professional outfit that are capable of just swatting away seriously competent Premier League teams. This is, these are both Champions League battling sides, City and Newcastle, and we made them look abject. We weren't, I never doubted either of the results. Kind of 10 minutes into the game, you could feel what we were going to do to them, and we did. So, the month as a whole, it was really emotional, very up and down. There was a point there in the middle where I have to admit my confidence cracked, and I was worried, and I was, kind of losing my shit. A lot of people were doing it. I think with the years gone by of having City chase us, you have this kind of lingering fear of you just want to be like 20 points clear with 19 points available. And until it's that moment, you don't feel confident or comfortable. And I had been feeling that all the way through until really these last two, where, Arsenal have fluffed their lines and we've just perfectly delivered ours. And we finished the month pretty certain of where it's all going now, I think, and really confident going into the next month. Just a really phenomenal place we find ourselves.
Jamesy, I asked you for a word and you gave me the word champions. That we know in our group chat, I'm the middle one. You're like that Zen level-headed, and Evans goes up and down, and one draw or one loss and the world's caving in. Like, now you're looking back, what are you thinking, Feb?
I think it was great. I mean, we had a bit of luck. We're unlucky. We played different kinds of style of football. We were good in midfield. We let City have the ball. We had that ugly win against Wolves. I mean, you can't really knock Everton. It was 2-2. It was like the most, let's say, historic draw in their history. And before, like, obviously, they leave Goodison Park. So let's just kind of say what it is. It's a derby game, and it's like a cup final to them. And we were very unlucky with Canati because that was a foul all day. That's my own opinion. And then just how we dismantled City and Newcastle. And hats off to our corner routine, because I think that's one of the first corners we've scored this season. So, and I guess I was a bit disappointed with Plymouth because of the 1-0 defeat. And the reason I'm disappointed is because of Harvey Elliott and Chiesa and Nunez, because that would have been a perfect cup run, would have been perfect for their form, would have been perfect for their actual fitness as well. And that didn't come to fruition for them. Chiesa was stinking, and Harvey Elliott, again, was it a penalty? I'm not sure what he was doing in regards to where his arm was, and then obviously the referee gave it. But we were very poor that time, and it's just one of those things. But the thing that impresses me the most is to win the Premier League, you need three things. You need luck, you need injuries, and you need form. And we've had all three. Our form has been fantastic. And I'm not even talking about the team. I'm talking about the actual players showing up, turning up. Like, you think about, we talk about Salah and we talk about the midfield, but we also have to give a mention to Alisson and this month and how much he dug us out. Just those amazing saves. That gives us that wee different dimension.
Right.
And then, to round that all off, and something we haven't had in a long time is legs. Is legs in that Liverpool team where we can run and run and run and run. And then the other thing, when it comes to the midfield, we're starting to score goals. So Bosley and McAllister starting to chip in, and that's a big bonus on everything that we're doing. Moving on to March.
It is crazy when you think about it. I mean, if you take away Evans's temper tantrums and up and down and you balance that month, it starts beautifully, doesn't it? I mean, that's a great result against an informed team at Bournemouth. Like you said, dismantled Spurs, and that was a bit of revenge because it was annoying that 1-0 defeat in the first leg. Then I don't know if you call it a wobble. Like I actually thought for a sec, James, you were going to say it wasn't a penalty where Harvey Elliott does his volleyball block on the line type of thing, like to make sure it doesn't go over. That one, yeah, that one, the last minute, it just felt like a knife in the heart. That didn't it? A plucky victory, and you're thinking, draw, just what we could do with just solidifying a bit here, but the finish in different ways. I mean, that 66% possession, that I think 34%, different types of victories, but absolutely brilliant and so much to like. And I'm intrigued for this, Jamesy, because you named the two midfielders. Now, I understand you've been back to Ireland recently. I can only assume that was to apologise to everyone in Ireland about you slagging off Mo Salah that time. So, with a chance to redeem yourself, who is the February player of the month?
So about Salah, obviously it's Salah, and I'm going to go through a couple of the stats where it's absolutely mind blowing. And honestly, if he doesn't get the Ballon d'Or, there's something wrong. Because the things that this man's doing at the moment, and I'm just going to take the Premier League because it's very hotly contested in regards to we're talking the best ever. This is the kind of echelon that we're going up to. When you take goals and contributions, Shearer and Cole with 47, then it's Henry with 44, and then it's Haaland with 44. At the moment, Mo Salah is sitting with 42 goal contributions. It's absolutely mind blowing. And then digging in a little bit further, goals and assists in a game is 11, right? Messi was 11, so we're equal to the world's greatest. Now, if he honestly doesn't get a Ballon d'Or this season, is it due to the people that are voting for him, or what actually is it? Because it's mind blowing. And the last thing I would like to say would be Hughes and Cole give Mo his dough.
Well, he's gone early on the contract question, although to be fair, I think everyone is thinking the same. But yeah, it's going to be pretty hard for Mark to put up any counter argument against Mo Salah here.
Yeah, we almost need to do like a accept Mo Salah, who's been the best player this month section, because it's getting dull. He's the month. How could you? I think it was another 7 goals this month, pile of assists. He just absolutely relentless. Not small goals either, almost all meaningful. Madness. There's an air about him, this sort of business-like air about him this season that, he finished last season kind of saying Liverpool should be amongst the trophies. He's one of those guys that rarely speaks publicly, and when he does, it matters, and he says it because he means it and he wants to live up to it. And he just has in the most emphatic way. He's literally from the word go this season. He's been, Van Dijk's brilliant and relentless, and Alisson's incredible and consistent and all these different things. But there is something above and beyond with Mo that we're seeing this year, even bigger than we've seen before from him in kind of leadership terms. He's just somehow carrying that mantle for us in a way that you rarely see done, really rarely. Even I would go as far to say is he's carrying us in a way that even Gerrard might have struggled to do, that good. He's taking it on that much. He's delivering that often in that many games. It's every single time. You just don't see that. You really don't. It's like James said, we're talking all-time great stuff here. And he is the answer. I think we have to take a little minute for Szoboszlai, I think, to mention his contribution this month. Really incredible. I think he got 3 goals this month. It wasn't just the goals, though. It was the way he carried himself, the kind of there was just an air of kind of self-belief about him this month that we'd seen flashes of in patches over his time at Liverpool, but he's really collected it in the overall package that we're getting now in a really incredible way. He's captain-like, he's driving us forward, the quality on the ball, the moments. So there's been big talking points around Szoboszlai this season about his willingness to shoot or take on the big moment, the big pass, and how brave is he, how cowardly is he? And as you two know, I've fallen on the kind of cowardly side of that argument, and ultimately he's made people like me eat our words this month, because the moments that he's chosen to shoot or to pass or not to critically have been perfect, absolutely perfect. Amazing kind of game management intelligence, and absolute quality to deliver, in the important moments.
It's insane. Although, to be fair, that's a pretty old meal you're packing and eating your words, because for the man who predicted that Manchester United had a better transfer window than us and they'd finished above us, it's stacking up into a good 3-course meal there.
Well, I still agree with one of those. We signed nobody.
Well, can't help himself, can he? But yeah, absolutely. It's strange, isn't it? It is a very fair point. Mo Salah delivers a legendary month, literally legendary in terms of Premier League, as Jamesy says. And Dominic Szoboszlai absolutely storms it. And it's like, you're brilliant, but it's not you, mate, type of thing. You're just literally a level, it's so harsh to say, but literally a level below Mo Salah, mainly just because he is that much ahead of everyone else. And I think I'm going with you. Maybe I've got swept up in your hedonism a bit, Jamesy, but I think the campaign for Mo Salah Ballon d'Or, we start burning things if that doesn't gain momentum tonight. And March, this is the weirdest month ever. Having played 8 million games, and you scroll through Liverpool's fixtures, if you actually get to March, I mean, there's one in a few hours, PSG. 4, Mark. Any worries for you going into these 4?
I mean, as far as the fixtures themselves, loads of worries, because I think we basically have to win all of them in some way, shape, or form. Maybe the PSG away one, a draw would do or whatever, but certainly the tie, as far as the season's concerned, we have to try and win that. It's a massive, massive. Champions League is almost becoming the main focus as we press further into the lead in the Premier League, and that starts to look more of a done thing. So enormous games. The Southampton one's enormous in its own right as well, because it's probably our easiest game on paper to the end of the season, which just comes with it big pressure. You have to win that game. And one of them's a cup final. So, that speaks for itself. Just 4 enormous games. I don't have any worries kind of in the context of the team, where we are, injuries, performance, any of that. I think we're in spectacular shape. Couldn't really ask for any more. But, all difficult games, really want to win them all. So the worry is that you don't.
I don't know, it's a weird, when there's only 4, like a draw or defeat almost seems more damning in a way, because there only is 4. There's not like the 8 to get it back, I suppose, so to speak. I mean, James, you tend to be the more positive Zen character. Relaxed about these 4?
Yeah, I mean, I'm relaxed because, our main priority is the league, and I definitely think that we can beat Southampton. And I would like I'd like Mo to score a hat trick, because I'll be triple captain them in fantasy. So, and the Newcastle game's massive because it's a trip to Wembley and it's a fantastic day out, and it'll be the first honours of Slot's era. So I think that would be great. To kind of tick that box. PSG, I mean, I'm not getting excited because last year we had our Dublin tickets booked. We thought we were going to get to the final of the cup, and look what happened. We got dumped out by Atalanta. So I'm just taking it as it comes. It's good that PSG have kind of looked at it as favourites. So that's good to have that, because then there's not that much pressure on us, and we still have the second leg in Anfield, which is fantastic. So they'll have their Anfield tonight, and we'll have our Anfield in a couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to it. I think that they're dangerous, but I think they're beatable as well. But the two that I'm really looking at is Liverpool and Southampton, and the cup final.
I don't know about you guys, but I've actually been quite surprised with the PSG stuff. You know, when the draw was made, I had quiet confidence about that. I thought they're good, but you know, we're better. We're only kind of Madrid or someone of that ilk would frighten me at this stage. And as it's kind of gone closer, the noises from them are so confident, bordering arrogant, that it's kind of put a little doubt into my mind almost. It's like, shit, how good are they? Like, you know, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing?
Well, it's funny you say that, because Ian McCartney's put in the chat panel, he's confident Liverpool will win tonight. 5-a-bet, 2-0, 14-1. If that does come off, Ian, you can give us a share of that. But that'd be nice. But literally, I know exactly what you're saying. If you listen to Arne Slot's press conference on this, all the French journalists were like, are you shitting yourself that you're facing PSG or a variation of that? Like, you must be terrified, the pace of our attack, the skill, blah, blah, blah. And even João Neves, the player they put up, he was asked about Liverpool and what you reckon. And his comments were like, literally a case of, they've got some brilliant individuals, but just to be clear, we are by far the better team. I mean, it almost felt like one of those, like, pin it on the dressing room door, lads, type of thing for motivation. They are seriously confident for this. There's no two ways about it at all. I mean, Jamesy was pretty certain there, Mark, for him. Southampton, that's the bigger one. The Carabao's massive as well. The European Cup, and typical Jamesy, you always lift it with a high, but bring us back to the downer of the Dublin non-event last year. Mark, are you the same of, like, in terms of, is it League, Carabao, Champions League in that order for you?
I mean, as far as importance of competition, it is. But I think if I'm looking at the fixtures individually, I don't think so. I think it's so difficult to those three at the end: the home Champions League, the home Premier League, and the Cup final. They're all super important in their own kind of way. I would really struggle to separate them. I think probably the Champions League home one would be the one I would consider the most important, just because I do secretly think we've kind of broken the back of the Premier League. You know, I think even if we drew that one, we should still just go on and win it. And the Cup final, I secretly think we'll win that as well, kind of thing. But the PSG at home one, I expect we're going to need something there. You know, I think we'll probably, you know, draw the first leg-ish, something like that, you know, and at least need minimum a draw or a win to go through, kind of thing. So I think that'll be the kind of highest tension game of them all, the most difficult, if you will.
The weirdest thing, whenever we ask this question each month about, like, which one's the most important, we start, before we get into predictions,